integrated supports and strategic partnerships leading to transformational student success. And then some outcomes that we're always aiming for: improved attendance and engagement, strong relationships and belonging, powerful teaching and learning, authentic family partnership, integrated student supports, college career and life readiness, and equity, voice, and shared power, really looking at distributed models of leadership. This looks better when it's in your hand. There's a lot on there, but trying to capture description of Mapleton as a community school with those indicators, our portrait of a graduate, a little bit of information about us. It will point out the 68% regular attender number. If you recall, we hit 75% 2 years ago. Last year dipped to 59, and then this year brought that back up to 68. Still want to get that back up to 75, but we definitely started lower this last year, so I feel confident we're on the rise again. And then 92% is actually our on-time graduation and 9th grade on-track rate this past year for both. Some examples of partnerships that serve our community. And then really looking at, hey, that's a lot of things, but where are the priorities? And with these three, continuing to look at attendance and belonging as a main focus. If we can't get students here regularly, we can't serve them best and make sure they're learning. And then really elevating family partnerships and trust. We've got some things we're working on with goal setting with families and connection through deepening our connection through conferences and events that we're hosting. And then academic growth and learning support, continuing to strengthen the expectations and supports for students, and building out our portfolio across all grade levels. And then we work together, voice from students, community, and staff, and then listening, learning, and improving in a continuous improvement model. Okay, a little bit of a jump to the next slide here. So this coming year, there was an executive order requiring all school districts in Oregon to do benchmark assessments 3 times a year, and a requirement to use one of 4 tools for doing so. 3 of those tools, she just had a conversation, that was funny. I never have my ringer on, and it was a whole thing in our meeting this morning, and suddenly my ringer's on. So, okay. Lost my train of thought. So 3 of those platforms, Map, Star, and iReady, cost a significant amount of money per student, and are not curriculum aligned or aligned to our summative test at the end. So there's alignment to standards-ish in there, but I think, yeah, they take us in a different direction than what we're currently doing. And the SBAC interim, no matter our opinions on SBAC, is at least aligned to the summative assessment at the end of the year, and is it's also free for schools. And so if the state is not going to fund requirements, then having a free option is nice. So we made the decision to go with SBAC on this, and the model that we're putting forward and implementing this year is they have 2 kinds of well, they actually have 3 kinds of tests in their interim package. One is an adjusted, comprehensive assessment, and they actually just released this where it is adaptive when students take it, it's not just a fixed set of questions. And, therefore time on testing will be less. I was excited to see they moved and launched that this year. But giving the comprehensive at the beginning of the year, which is similar to the CAT test that they take in the summative state testing. And then giving a performance task mid-year from the SBAC. Then there's also what's called block assessments that Wednesday our staff, no, today's Wednesday, yesterday our staff dug into and are working to identify question types and mini blocks that align to what they're doing in classes so that they can use those for assessment within their curriculum as well. And there's no force to do that, but where they found alignment, each of them was pulling out ways to figure out how to embed some of these materials into what they're already doing. The third benchmark, what we're proposing and gonna try this year is to give the comprehensive, it should actually say and performance task, I don't know why that one. Oh, I'm just gonna show this one. The comprehensive and the performance task in the spring, or for students who take the summative test, use that data as their benchmark, their third benchmark, so that we're not doubling up spring testing. If you take, because these are so aligned, we can just say if you take the state test, we have that data at the end of the year. If you choose not to take the state test, we have something aligned that we're required to give you anyway, and you take one of those too. So, the bottom of this, Acadience testing, we've already implemented that really for case 6, and we're gonna use those same tools for progress monitoring for 7th and 8th grade and have those alongside. We like that test and the data it gives us, and we're not gonna move away from that practice. The one thing I wanna make sure you guys know is the SBAC tools right now are only for 3rd through 12th grade. The law or executive order requires 3 times a year benchmarking with one of these tools for K through 12, and right now, I don't think buying one of those tools for K through 2 when it doesn't align to SBAC and all the things, I would rather take the hit and say we're doing it right instead of doing it aligned to what they're requiring. So we are slightly out of compliance for benchmarking for K2. However, we have really strong Acadience testing and curriculum embedded measures that we will still report on to the board. So that the final requirement in this is those 3 times a year, we have to take the data and report it publicly to our board. There is no requirement to send the data to the state for them to do anything with it. So we're accountable to you guys, not the state at this point. So, probably some questions on this. I'm happy to take them now or later. I don't have a ton more. This was just describing those 3 tests.
So if people opt out of state testing, they still do this?
We have to have data for them, so this kind of says, hey, if you want the data to go to the state, take the state. If not, the data comes to us, and we still have similar measures to make sure students are learning, so.
Which is
ultimately more
important.
Say it again.
I said which is ultimately more important.
That we have the data than them, yeah.
What does it look like for students? Is this like a long test or
Yeah, it's,
preparing for it?
it's not short. I'll have a better answer for that after fall benchmarking. We, before they put the adaptive version, I was really worried that kids having to take every single test item through there, it felt like it was doubling or tripling the time from the state test. But it's really hard to get an estimated answer on either one of those because SBAC doesn't time, they don't limit time. So, I mean, it's no, the time is not shorter or longer from what I can tell than the other three systems. They're all kind of, they feel about the same. The one thing I've heard from districts who are using the comments started with MAP, but other people other districts who use other tool like STAR kind of agreed. So like I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but their pushback was at the kinder through 2 level of we have to stick kids on a device for 30-45 minutes and they're clicking, they have no clue what it's asking them kind of thing. And I just didn't feel like another measure on that at K2 made sense.
Is this a digitally administered test on the computer?
SBAC, yes. All 4 of those, yes. All 4 of the required ones are. The Acadience is not. So Acadience happens one-on-one with the person assessing. So that's why we like that data so much, is it's in time, in person, it's focused skills through there, and it's the things that like immediately we can take that data and start an intervention group to work on the skill that they're lacking. So 3rd through 12, all of these are digital.
So when you say it's adapted from the state testing?
No, adaptive means I start the test, I get the first problem right. Based on that, it gives me the next question. I get that question wrong. Based on that, it goes to a different one. You're sitting next to me taking the same test. We're unlikely to have the same questions. Does that make sense? Unless we're exactly at the same level, kind of thing. So they've got like a flow chart per grade level that moves you around, and so to land you on a score takes less questions because it's moving to your ability versus saying take all these and then we'll say you got 20 out of 30 and it was these ones right, and so on.
It's kind of helpful, like to find holes that they're missing.
Yeah.
Like it's super good in math because it can find gaps that they have or concepts they've missed or.
Yeah. I like it too. I think it's a good, I like it because I think it helps you know what your teachers are doing too.
Yeah.
It keeps them accountable.
And the nice thing about the interim, the SBAC interims are actually, there's also a whole, I don't know the word I want, but anyway, platform, a whole platform of tools for teachers that if your student got this score, right, once we get this, and this is an area of strength and an area for growth, there's a whole platform to like specifically pull out some intervention materials that are actually quite good. I know SBAC summative, we all have thoughts on, and those thoughts can vary all over the place. But the interims are actually designed in a way to be used well, and to drive instruction. And what I want to say about the executive order for this requirement, interim testing is a good thing, right? Districts that have those processes in place and take the data and respond to it with interventions and improved instruction, that is good teaching and learning in a school. I'll just give my opinion on this. Saying that one of those 3, especially before they added SBAC on this, it was just one of these, it's like if the end all be all for schools is to put one of those 3 systems in place. That's not true. It's the how you use it that changes practice. And so I think I'm of the understanding that the state cannot, require a certain, tool and fund a certain, does that make sense? Like, they can't advocate for a certain, vendor, and it feels really close to breaking that rule. And yet, here we are. So, I feel really strongly that we can put, a really strong system in place, and we were already building that with Acadians, and so that's why we're not going away from that, we're gonna keep that in place as well, so. This is still, I should say that those interim measures are part of the well, actually that was the executive order side of it, but all of this is connected to the accountability bill, that is driving a lot of changes right now, including, did we all talk about that in here or somewhere else with Jaren has to account for money with like 22-digit long codes now and stuff like that, all of that is
Well, he had mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah,
The codes were all changing.
Yep, so that's all part of the same bill. We are, we've talked other years about the longitudinal performance growth, targets. They switched the name of those slightly to just performance growth targets, and then local means these are ours. I don't know if people can see those, I think it's in my house, but, we submitted this to ODE and were approved, but I wanna show this to you and then have a specific conversation about the one at the bottom. So, everybody in the state is being held accountable to K2 regular, well, I say everybody, but then stay tuned to that now. K2 regular attendance, K12 regular attendance, so pulling those two apart. 3rd grade ELA, 8th grade math, 9th grade on track, and 4-year graduation, and 5-year completion. Those are pretty similar to what they have been, except they've added 5-year completer and pulled out the K2 attendance and added that as well. So there's more of these. And you'll notice anything academic for us is exempt because our groups are traditionally smaller than 10 and not reportable. And so then they just don't give us a goal at all, which seems like there could be a better way, but that's how it's landing right now. So when I say the whole state's accountable to these things, not the ones that are small. These numbers are set in a way that you have to get to the number that the state has calculated for meeting by 2030 for your cluster. And there's some really interesting, if anybody wants to dig into this, and there's a lot of folks in the state kind of frustrated by the math on this, and we've all kind of joked that they might be using bad math to fix math, but we're in a cluster with like districts across the state, and our cluster is asked to make the largest growth, or required, I guess, to make the largest growth of any cluster in the state. And there are some other clusters that have to make a minimal amount of growth, and some of it's based on size, but it's curious, and it's all just kind of, the state picked a number and figured out how to get all these clusters to meet their number, and so we'll see what happens. If you don't meet your goals, after, I think it's like, I can't remember exactly if it's 27 or 28, you can end up on performance plans, and then if you don't meet that for 3 years, the accountability bill says then the state can come tell your district how to spend 25% of their funds, and we'll see how this plays out. I'm not concerned about it, I just think the math should lead to it actually working, and nobody believes that this is gonna work, just because the math is bad, so. Happy to share more later if anybody cares on that.
Wait, before you,
Yeah.
sorry, but like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
So the gap closing, the baseline
Oh.
and the gap closing, so
Yeah.
the top one makes sense to me, but
Yeah.
the K-12 regular attendance one, I don't understand.
Yeah, so gap closing is, okay, so baseline is all of your students, and gap is some of your students who are underserved, and I actually, all of you, okay, I sent this text earlier because I couldn't remember. I said, is my gap closing number, lower socioeconomic group, homeless students, or something else, and it's actually both of those plus special education students. And so, and in our district, there's not a lot of kids who are not one of those three groups, right? And so you'll see that these are actually pretty close together in most cases. So, but that's what the gap and what's playing out across here is right here, there's a, 7% gap, and then we close it here.
Yeah,
This one,
that was the weird one, and someone
Yeah,
doing
that-
the same thing,
this
so,
was the thing, it seems still about the same amount away.
yeah,
I think that's because there's not enough kids different between those two groups to really fully close the gap. So I think they're saying our gap is closed enough there to like keep it similar versus close it all the way. I don't
It's
know.
weird, though.
I think they
Yeah.
put it through like an AI generator.
It's
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
I mean,
yeah,
that's
and the
what-
like here, yeah, I feel like we should have just landed at 78.3 for both of
For
these.
both of them, yeah.
But it got approved. This is what they told us to do,
Yeah.
so.
Alright.
That seems like something that was fed through a formula and they just spit it out for all the districts
And
and
there's-
said, here you go.
Yep.
They didn't check it,
Yep.
cause this doesn't actually make sense when you talk through it.
Yeah, I'm glad, cause like, I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not seeing.
No, that was the exact one where, and there used to be something called a stretch goal too. And so I was like, in my head it was a stretch goal, and then when I started looking, I was like, wait, that's less.
Not what they're saying.
And then I was like, is the top one less? And then I remembered what gap closing was, and then I was like, who's our gap closing group? I can't remember, so. Anyway, that's what this is. The one that is perhaps most interesting and matters to this group the most is the career and workforce, the local metric. So districts have the option to choose from, I think there's 5 of them, but it's 5th grade science, academic performance, the career and workforce readiness, which is CTE, really CTE participation is what that's measuring. I wanna say there's one more that I'm forgetting right now. One is multilingual learners, focused on like I think it's multilingual learners. And then, I feel like there's a 5th that I'm forgetting. Based on those, career and workforce readiness made the most sense for us because we're working on building out our project-based learning to be a career and technical education pathway. So it's like, let's use a local metric that's really aligned to our big focus right now. And reminder that we're part of the, or we're the only district that is in the Innovation Zone's CTE grant or program with the state that they're supposed to be innovating alongside us to help make CTE more accessible for small rural districts. So chose this, set the goals, and in all honesty, if we do this right, that shouldn't be 40%, it should be 100%, because maybe 80 and higher, because all of our students will be in the project-based learning and complete a pathway, right? And we may have various kids that don't quite complete it because they come in later or something like that, but that should get up close to 80% or higher. So I felt really good about this one. And then, I am hearing through the grapevine, but ODE has not told me this directly yet, I keep waiting for the follow-up meeting, that the innovation project is too overwhelming for them, they don't know what they're doing with it, and it's going away. So, we're gonna keep putting the program in place, but I don't know if it's gonna count as CTE, and it won't be our fault. They have promised us that this is a path that they're gonna support, and now I'm feeling like that broken promises. So, my question to you guys is, should we keep this one? And part of me is of the thought, like, if we don't meet that goal and they come back and say, you guys aren't accountable to your goals, I can point to them and say, well, you're not accountable to what you said you were gonna support, and then we can push on ODE to actually serve small rural districts with their CTE programs if they don't follow through. Or we can go a different direction. So, yeah, I'll pause there. What I will say is there's a ton of conversation about this academic growth one. And there are many districts really battling with wanting to choose academic growth and being really worried about the fact that all that data gets condensed to a single number that isn't actually meaningful and can get weaponized against you. So, and that's my fear. And if you notice, they're telling us we're exempt from every academic measure because we can't report that data publicly. And I worry that having an academic growth measure is gonna put us in the same spot, that like we're holding ourselves accountable to it, but we can't actually be accountable to it. And so believe me, we are accountable to academic growth in this district, just not on this men. Like, this isn't the place to hold that accountability, in my opinion. So, no, there are many districts right now grappling with that. So, that's everything I have there. I know there's a ton of stuff packed into that, and some of this is like discussion-ish. But I'm happy to take questions. I'm happy to move some items to the next meeting for discussion. Right now, this plan is approved, but we have permission to change it if we, that would have to happen in September, because I think they're due September 3rd, if I recall. Double check that. But if we wanna keep things how they are, we're in place and we're good, so.
I think there's a quick question, but back on the benchmark reporting, to the public reporting of the benchmark testing, that's at board meetings,
Yeah,
but if we do that, I mean, we have such small classes, like, that's public reporting of a very discoverable class size.
we have said the same thing, we've asked for support from the state on how to do that. My thought right now is to put that into K2, 3, 5, 6, 8, and 9, 12. However, even that, like it's always over 10, but I worry that, in that case, it's actually, well, I think it works. Anyway, that's my thought, is to present that by grade band. We might even go a little bit wider grade bands in there, just like with the data. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to see number of kids together and say, is it pretty equal? Maybe we cut it so they're fairly equal across, but we're all the smalls are grappling with that.
Yeah, it's funny to say you can't, none of your data counts because you're too small, and we can't like publicly, like, you can't use it because it's too like directly, reports on individuals, and then to ask us to publicly report that data.
It's just, the legislation, I get the reason behind, the intent of the legislation is great.
Right.
The execution doesn't take into account the reality of all of this.
Right, and I guess I think we shouldn't do that if we do think we're gonna be compromising any students,
Yeah. So I think I think we have to get through the first benchmark,
Yeah.
similarly to I'll know how to answer how long it takes after that one. the reporting similarly, once I can see what all the data looks like, I can kinda say, okay, here's an element of it, so.
So, are you saying like because of the small bands of students that you're reporting on, like you would be able to directly link their performance scores to
To a
like
kid.
an individual
Mhm.
student?
Yeah, so what happens if there's 6 kids in a class, or a grade level, which we have, at 2 grade levels right now, the rest of ours went up, which is great. If I put that data forward by grade level, it's still an average of 6 kids, but what happens is people start trying to like attach those 6 kids to those results and telling a story about how that number became that number. That's not fair, right? Versus if I have 30 kids in a class and I put that forward, you're thinking about it more as the class than the individuals in that class. So, and it may be that we just have to lump elementary and secondary and say, this is what we're seeing, and then I can tell you some of the patterns and trends that are inside that data, but not lay them out so obviously. So, yeah. And I don't know that I was ever clear on this, but this is ELA and math. So there's two of these, one for English language arts and one for math, 3 times a year.
And are you like asking us really asking us for our opinions on, our thoughts on keeping that last one as it is?
I would, I just wanna feel confident, like if we wanted further discuss that, we should, so that I can be getting the information so that we can make a decision, cause it is time bound on that, so.
What was your question?
So there's the 5 measures. Do we need these? Yeah, and all 5 aren't listed here unfortunately, but, cause this is the one that I submitted, but the one we have is CTE participation. I feel confident keeping it, I wanna make that clear, I just
I
don't.
like that one because it's very measurable in a positive way.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
only growing, so.
Yeah, and I do think it's a spot to look at accountability in the whole system, like we're gonna do it. Whether they count or not is a different story, and we've tried everything to try to work with the state to do that, if they can't find the capacity and
I think
innovation
this
to
school
do
has
that.
a great way to justify themselves and like I said before, like show a better product than a kid took a CTE class by a CTE certified teacher. But they didn't collectively get together and learn and work and learn all the ins and outs and pros and cons and all the hiccups along putting a garden together or a tiny home together, or like it's way more tangible in a sense for, I mean, you could show that off and sell it to them and tell them, screw you and your ideas of CTE.
And your numbers, yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
So.
I didn't hear any of the other ones fitting particularly well, so.
That's kind of my thought on that. Yeah, so, in our county, I think the only 3 that have been picked, quite a few smalls went with, career and technical education, quite a few mids went with 5th grade science. And then the bigs are all grappling with, I think they're all gonna end up with academic growth, but they're working together with their boards on the pros and cons of that. So. All right, thanks for indulging that long report. I do have one short one that I have to do. Where's the agenda? Okay. Very good. Alright, give me a second to find it. I thought that was gonna work. Okay, this one is the annual, integrated report. This is looking back to last year. Moving forward, it will be called the unified plan, but it's taken on all forms, but it's the same stuff of like, our outcomes and strategies and goals that I've talked to a couple times a year about. So, ODE's annual report, 2 narrative questions, can include progress markers. I did not. Yeah, we submit reports quarterly. And a reminder that this is the integrated programs that include high school success, Perkins dollars, man, I changed this up from before, SIA dollars, student investment account, and I don't know, 2 others that aren't coming to mind right now. The longitudinal performance growth targets that we just talked about, that's all part of this same process is what I wanna tell you. Okay, really what I have to do is read this out loud to you. As you review your progress markers overall, reflection, responses, and reflect on plan implementation, how do you see your progress contributing to the outcomes and strategies in your plan and your longitudinal performance growth targets and local optional metrics? And then be specific to at least one outcome. So, through strategic plan implementation, Mapleton School District progress serves as the foundational driver for achieving our performance growth targets. By building a recognizable brand, maintaining a dynamic online presence, and establishing consistent 2-way communication channels via Parent Square, we're directly lowering barriers to family participation. This heightened visibility and engagement directly support our long-term growth metrics by boosting enrollment and retention, transparent communication and active community outreach regarding our transition towards charter status, foster district trust and community investment, positioning us to sustain and increase student enrollment over time, and improving academic and attendance targets when families clearly understand academic milestones such as early literacy goals, math, vision, and 9th grade on-track indicators. They are equipped to partner with schools effectively, directly driving improvements in attendance, literacy proficiency, and graduation rates. Where have you experienced barriers, challenges, or impediments to progress toward your outcomes and strategies in your plan that you could use support with? The primary barrier Mapleton School District faces is sustaining momentum towards our plan's outcomes in the shifting national and local economic environment. Over recent years, key foundational programs, particularly those supporting trauma-informed care, student health, and wraparound family services, were built or scaled using external grant funding and philanthropic partnerships. As the broader economic climate fluctuates, external grant priorities shift and funding sources contract or sunset, maintaining consistent staffing and continuous service delivery has become increasingly difficult. This financial instability threatens program continuity and places an unsustainable strain on district resources to bridge the gap. Yeah, I don't think anything else needs to be said to either of those. And that is literally the extent of the annual plan that we have to support on the narrative side. Then there's some check boxes that are like, how much growth did you make? And you say low, medium, or high. So, we do have to pause here for public comment on this report. Can you ask if anybody has anything to add?
If anyone has any public comment to add to that, please let Jared know.
Anybody online?
Maybe one.
Does anybody want to ask any questions? If they pop in afterwards, my guess is we're good, but, and then just, we'll make sure it's in the agenda notes that we did that, so. That's what I got there.
Somebody did text me and said they couldn't hear anything. 6:14.
Yeah, at the very start, yeah, the mic wasn't
Fix
set,
that,
so
okay,
yeah.
good. Okay, Jaren, your turn.
As people noted / complained about, this is a lot of papers since you got June and July and August, we spent money.
Who's the one really, I marked it here, cause I forgot the other one. What's Vetro Space?
That's the pods.
Okay, I kinda thought that when I read it at work the other day, but I was like,
On the first financial-ish looking page before the enrollment page, you can see we ended the year at 5.9 million in revenue and 6.7 million in expenses, so we dropped about 800K for last year, which was expected. I was hoping it would turn out a little better, but that's, and hopefully the state sends more money our way. But, yep, any questions? There's things going on in the district. We've done stuff. If you wanna hear about some of the fun things I've been doing, you know, you can come chat with me if I like. Take too much time.
Yeah.
okay. Anyone have any other questions for Darren on that?
No, just noting lots of that stuff has been great for the middle school building, because we're in there regularly, so seeing, you know, especially heating and air conditioning stuff restored.
You guys might have a nice winter.
Yeah. Yep, and much more comfortable summer,
Yeah,
so.
that's really it.
Yep, and the pods are cool.
The mural.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's some cool mural work happening in there, yeah, should be close, we're close to done, but not there, so. I just pulled up the current enrollment, monthly form that has September filled in. I will say there's, it's never accurate till the first day of school, but right now, well, true, 11th day of school because of drops and those kind of things, but, it says 175 right now, and last year was 161 to start the year, so, elementary is definitely up, like, confirmed. 5th grade went from 5 kids to 12, 11, 12, something like that.
And is that relatable to charter or?
Absolutely, yep. I'll make that up. Oh, I don't have, this one doesn't have, sorry, 5th grade, yeah, 5 to 12 kids. 1st and 4th are still small, so if anybody's out there and knows 1st and 4th graders, we would love to take them. We have 14 kinders, and we've only had, and those are all Mapleton kids. I was shocked, I got the roster and looked through it, it was like Mapleton, and I was like, where have you all been hiding? So, a lot of them are coming from preschool. And then,
That was a COVID year, right?
well, that was the next thought. Glad it was somebody else that said it, not me, I was practicing my.
I was
doing the math, I'm like,
Exactly the.
That's funny.
Yeah, so 1st and 5th, and then 3rd is at 8 kids, so like, we only have 3 grade levels, single digits now, but that, pre-K and K are significantly big already, and then, our smallest, actually 6th through, yeah, we look good. 6th through 12th are all 12 or higher, and we're aware of a handful of kids that are like leaving us for various reasons. And I don't know if they're counted in this or not yet, so
Oh.
that's the reason I say hang tight, cause they were on rosters the other day, but I don't know when Carly put this number in, so
Right.
this is the first time I've seen this number, so I was excited that I had to share.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It seems like the older grades are fairly large this year. I just know that there was some, group chats and stuff, they're like, our homerooms are split up and things like that, so it sounds like that might be because of class size?
We're, we're double digits across the board, so it's different than other years where you had a small that you keep together and keep playing with highly scheduled when we have more kids.
That's pretty cool.
Cool.
So,
Yeah,
it feels
that's
good.
good news. Good news.
Okay, the consent agenda. Anyone want to have any questions or discussion on it? If not, someone can feel free to move on it.
I move for passage of consent agenda items 6.1, 2, and 3.
A second.
All those in favor? Okay, action items. First one, the 26-27 calendar.
Do you have a copy of it? So, couple things, this big change comes from, looking at instructional minutes and catching, the fact we gave too many days for, try that again. Too many days at the end of the year with seniors not going to school. So, there's actually a couple changes we're proposing on this, for you. I've gotta get closer to this. The original has graduation on the 5th, and it needs to be on the 12th, because it can't have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 days without seniors. It puts them below instructional minutes requirements. So, graduation the 12th and last day the 9th.
For seniors.
For seniors, yeah, so that change is noted here. Then while we were, doing this, can you go to conferences? October, well, right now, fall conferences are the 19th and 20th. There has been and then was another advocacy for, that's week 11, I believe, of the school year, which is already into second term, and parents saying, hey, when you find out how off course your kid is that late, sometimes it's hard to course correct. And so elementary had already advocated that for moving that earlier at times. Then we had a secondary success planning meeting, and really we're looking at goal setting with families as part of the first conference. And so we proposed moving that up to the 8th and 9th, and there's consensus across all staff to, yes, earlier is better. And so while we're making this change, we want to propose that one as well. And then we looked over at these conferences, and right now they're the 22nd and 23rd. 2 years ago, we caught that it overlaps with our Gear Up retreat, and so some of our staff have to be there and can't be at conferences, and it's hard at secondary. Caught it early, so we're proposing moving that up 1 week, just to avoid that overlap. There's 2 other I'll talk about instruction. Okay, so preschool, we shifted by 15 minutes this year, and that's for transportation reasons, but this said, it still said 8:15 to 2:45, and I think we changed it right after we approved this, and so this is just matching what we're doing. And then the last thing on here,
Was it changed before families registered? So they know.
yes,
that-
yeah, Yeah, and everybody's starting the 8th, so they still have another week, and we've been sending stuff out and talking to them, on that, so, and yeah, the bus was actually already leaving early before the end of the day because of transportation issues, and so this fixes that, and we had a warning issue on top of that, so we just needed to shift by 15 minutes. Okay, the last thing on this, another, executive order about instructional minutes. I won't get into all of those details, but right now, we're not impacted by the executive order, start with that. However, it says that no longer are they gonna count the 60 hours, so 30 for professional learning and 30 for parent, conferences, up to 30. We don't use all 60, and, we do use some of them. I think, with weather days, we were at like 42 last year. And so if they take those 60 away, we're gonna be impacted, so are most districts. So I was playing with the math on this, trying to figure out how much it will impact us if it goes away. This will be it won't, the state board refused to put it into place this last year, so it's not in place now, and it would impact next year. But it sounds like they're moving towards doing it. My hope is they're gonna land somewhere in the middle and count 15 hours each or something like that. But while I was looking at impacted playing with this, I did two things to the secondary schedule, and I told them about it today formally, so that, and they laughed. But I noticed that on Wednesdays in our schedule, we had a 2-minute transition for lunch, and all the other days we had 4 minutes. And not one person ever pointed it out to me. So if it was felt, they didn't feel it enough to complain. So what I did was take those 2 minutes out of Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and make it consistent, and then those 2 minutes times 144 days actually, each minute is actually significant. So we really are in the game of minutes right now. So I did that, and then our school day on the other one is listed till, it actually said 3:47, but for the last 3 years we've been going till 3:48. And so I just rounded it up to 3:50 and got 2 more minutes easily in there, and when I said it today, nobody complained. So, and it's our middle school kids that are closest to not having enough instructional minutes, so that's why I changed it here, not elementary. So that's noted in here. I just wanted to make
What time did they
it
get out?
obvious here.
3:40, okay.
Yeah, 3:40. So, and by the time we load
That's
buses.
plenty of time, right?
Yeah, those 2 minutes aren't gonna make a big deal, so, in terms of operations, so, anyway, that, whatever 4 minutes times 144 days, I have that in some computer file somewhere, but it gets us closer. I just wanna tell everybody, and I told the staff, on this side yesterday, if they pass that all 60 of those are going away, I think it's likely we'll need to add 10 minutes to the school day, on both sides next year. So we'll keep watching that, but, know that that is a pretty high potential of happening, for next year, so. The other weird piece, I think I told some of you this, I can't remember if it was in this meeting or not, but, excuse me, there was something about, okay, you know how people furloughed people being districts? So the executive order was in response to that and basically said if you had less school days this year than prior year, you have to be on a plan to get back to your original number of days. We weren't impacted by that. However, the writing of it included weather days. So by the end of this, people who didn't furlough, who answered the question, did you have less days this year than anticipated, and interpreted that, I mean, there was a lot of conversation, and basically, I don't know if we were ever told you have to count weather days, but I read it as anticipated. I always anticipate weather closures, and so I said no, because we didn't have very many closures this year. And I was the only one in the county that didn't have to write a plan for how to fix their days. recognizing that that's how I got away with this, I am proposing, and Jared, would you put up, cause I can't even see, oh yeah, right here. So see how the first and second are really light gray right there? And there's nothing here, will you scroll to the bottom? So we put here 2 assumed weather closure days to be TBD accounted for in instructional minutes. So we're expecting 2 days and we're not gonna make up the first 2 days. Beyond 2 days, we have to find ways to make up those minutes. And if they come back to us later and say, you didn't have school on those 2 days, and we'll say, well, it was in our thing and we're good. So that's what I'm asking you guys to propose, that approach to it, so that we can stay within the lines of this. So.
Does anyone have any questions or?
No, it's good to know that the staff already heard all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the big change is the graduation day and a little bit of adjustment to the schedule. I have to add those couple minutes in for lunch at the end of the day.
I think my senior will be sad, but other than that.
If what?
I think my senior will be sad.
Oh, that was part of the conversation in the meeting.
But, you know, oh,
Yeah.
But they know
Well,
now.
and I felt bad
It's not
because
like you hit them later.
originally our building meetings were gonna be Tuesday, but because of a different training, we switched Tuesday and Wednesday, so it wasn't until this morning, and literally, like, half the room was like, just filled in my calendars with all this stuff yesterday, and I was like, my bad.
Yeah.
So that was planned for yesterday.
Yeah.
So, they were nice about it. And I should say, almost all of those changes are impacting secondary only.
Yeah.
And so the meeting was secondary only today. The conferences, I worked with Clara, she talked with the staff, and it's a unanimous approval for the conferences.
I think it's better
So,
to go earlier.
Yeah, and they've wanted that. That was what I had been told, but I did confer with them today.
Well, and parents will feel better, like that's taking some feedback and
Yeah,
responding to
Yep.
it.
yeah, like, oh, don't give me the oh shoot, too late.
Yeah.
Or just like, we would love to make that change, but it doesn't work on our schedules, like, you know what, we needed to make some schedule changes and your feedback helped make that decision.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's good communication and PR with parents.
So, Sue needs us to approve the calendar.
So I'll move to approve the 2026-2027 calendar with the changes, including the weather days and graduation and conferences and instructional minutes. Second that one.
Yeah, you got it all.
I was like, I couldn't remember, what's the next?
Second. Right, all those in favor? 7.2, the board chair and vice chair. Normally we do this every 2 years. I think before we were doing it like every 1 year, but then we've been doing it for every 2 years the last little bit. I actually was entertaining the idea of just keeping the positions 1 more year. I even talked to Mary about it, and kind of timing wise, election wise, it even actually aligns nicely too, but just with the changes and like the charter stuff, I really thought like, okay, well, if we just hold the positions just for some continuity, and just seeing things through, and then when she brought up the date things, it actually makes sense. But it kind of aligned better with the 2 year, or with, not that it's always 3 years, but just that it aligns to when any possible elections would happen for people, so.
I don't wanna do it.
Sweet,
Off the hook of any position.
I'm not saying that for me personally, but just saying like, you know, like unless we're like wanting to say, like I guess each of us wants to say that that's okay, or if we don't wanna, you know, challenge it or do it differently, so
Yeah.
that's me saying, nope.
You're gonna take a breath of fresh air.
But like it is, you know, like, it's good for us to know we have that night, we have a regularly changing plan for good reasons, and that we don't wanna stray, just stray without giving it some thought, and so, you know, like, I think in this case, to me, it doesn't feel like we're straying, you know, like, consistently or too far from that to be comfortable, like, we're continuing to have different leadership and stuff this another year in these positions. Seems like it has some benefits, and I don't see, like, you know, sort of, I don't know what, like, term limit problems or something like that, so, anyway. But I do wanna, like, acknowledge that we like, that the third year makes sense, if keeping it like this is fine, but we don't wanna, like, kind of just keep going further and further and further.
No, there's some districts that, like, my gosh, they don't change very often.
Yeah, and like, there's pros and cons, but I like the pros of
Rotation.
Regular rotation, so, anyway. But this seems within the bounds of at least what I feel comfortable with.
Yeah, I think that's an important point. Both, like, I also don't wanna do either position, but it's good to acknowledge, like, rotation and leadership is a good thing, but yeah, I'm happy with keeping it another year and then revisiting, if that's what everyone wants to do.
Do you make a motion?
Yeah, we have to vote on it, so.
I move to keep Andrea Milburn as the chair and Mary Pierce as vice chair.
So I'll second that.
All in favor?
Okay, apparently Adam likes
Well, I don't know if she can do it.
I don't think we get to vote. I guess I could say all in favor, but I don't know that Mary and I vote on it.
Right, you could abstain, like, you could call for I think you probably still do call for
Yeah.
and then abstain.
Yeah, so all those in favor for the motion that was given.
And then you would say.
Oh, ironically, there's 3, so that works anyway.
Right.
And then I'll abstain.
Yeah, I'll abstain as well.
In the future, though, we can vote for the chair and the vice chair
Yeah,
separately.
Yeah.
Instead of together, and then you're not keeping 2 people
Yeah.
out of the vote.
Then you could vote and I
Yeah.
could vote, yeah.
Yeah, good call. So next time, we'll just vote on the chair and then vote on the vice chair.
Yeah,
Especially if there is a quorum issue,
True.
which there isn't tonight.
No, that was good.
they could get there.
It was nice we're all here. Okay, personnel. We'll let Sue run through these, right?
Yeah, some of these I talked about at the opening,
Yeah, you
if
did.
you saw Zach's name on there, I am happy for him, he got a good offer, and if you visit Sea Lion Caves, Zach is holding it down out there, and will be hugely missed on our campus. He is still gonna coach middle school boys basketball, so
Cool.
he is still connected to us. And
So we need to approve that one,
approve that one.
or unless you wanna run through all of them.
I don't have anything else to say on the hiring or the
Yeah.
internship, cause I said it earlier, so you
Okay.
can move through it however you would like.
Let's just, if she doesn't have much
Oh,
more.
I do, actually, just kidding, do resignation.
Okay,
So a motion to approve the resignation of Zach Bird.
Oh, well, I mean, I'll second it gladly.
alright, all those in favor?
I just want to acknowledge how Zach kind of got roped into the Mapleton awesomeness from when he was
Sitting
reporting.
in a.
Yeah.
Sitting here at all of our meetings
Yeah.
as a reporter.
Mm-hmm.
And like the kids would come in and bring him swag and all of this stuff, and he was just like, I think
I wanna
be
work there.
here. And then he came here, and I love that.
And has been awesome, and I will miss having him around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we'll see him quite a bit.
I hope so.
Okay, the only thing I wanna say to the hiring, because those two aren't officially yet, I couldn't put a name on them. I'm hopeful I have a name for the one
yeah.
like tomorrow. And then the second one will be likely mid next week. We're starting, we know we're starting off with coverage on that and we have it covered, but we think we'll have that, pretty close to that. I know we talked in previous years where we were in this spot, I just can't remember where we landed, where like approving a hire, do you approve the hire of the position without the name and then not get in that weird spot, or do we have a meeting to just approve them? I'll let you guys talk through them.
I'm pretty sure we determined that we can hire, or we can approve the filling the spot because we're approving basically the sort of the impact on the budget and stuff and that. I mean,
And to get the year started, yeah.
yeah, and like when the name is on there, like we aren't actually like judging the hire on the name anyways, like
You
you can, but we don't usually.
Well, we're usually just approving the filling of the position.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and we can put the names on next month when we
Right.
have them, so
Yeah.
we can do
I
both
would like to
sides
know
of it,
who it
I just
is.
wanna make sure that we can hire them, yeah,
Mhm.
so, as long as you guys are comfortable with that.
Don't see any.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
So, I mean, I always like to see the name, just because, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh,
I
yeah,
do too,
like
cause then I'm
eventually.
like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, they work there.
Right, we wanna know who's here. but-
Someone refers to them, I'm like.
And I
oh,
will
yeah,
send
that
you
is-
guys who it is before next meeting, once we, yeah, I should also say that. As soon as it's official, I'll send that to you guys, so we know, you know who they are.
Yeah. And with that in mind, I would, move that we approve 7.3.2, hiring 3 positions.
I'll second.
All those in favor? The internship of Stephanie Swigert.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier, so.
Mm-hmm.
Is that,
it's not
is it paid?
Not paid,
By us
Um,
anyways.
yeah, actually, I think it's an unpaid internship, in this case, and, clinical supervision is being covered by Portland State, so there's no cost to us.
Okay.
It's awesome.
And
So-
what is she gonna be?
A school-based licensed therapist intern. So she's doing her, master's of social work, she's in her second year, and would have she has clinical supervision from the university
So what does she do?
in there. Therapy, so her particular interest is actually working with parents of, students with high needs. So we're gonna, like, reach out to parents and offer,
Nice.
connections there, and then, she also needs to do, clinical support for, students here, so we'll work out who those are, but that's always, approved by
Isn't necessarily
families.
high needs, it could be any, for the student
Yeah,
support,
well,
it could be.
anybody who, so it's like having a clinical therapist, so the position that we're hiring, that you guys just approved, is, we tried forever to get Peace Health to have somebody here, couldn't do it, we've had Hoots for the crisis, Jaren was like, maybe what if we get our own full-time person, so that's that position, and then this is an intern who's, working her way to being the same type of person.
So will they work
Yeah.
together?
Yes,
And is the money from that clinical social worker, is that coming from the Medicare or paid or whatever that is?
we'll be billing, yep, so we're standing up the billing for that, right now we're using the money we would've used for Hoots,
Okay.
and then we're standing up the billing with the hopes that sustains those positions.
Perfect.
Then I move to approve 7.33. Whatever.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Okay, Share English language learners reports.
Is in the board packet.
Yep.
I shared it. It really doesn't, I'm happy to answer any questions, but if you read it,
Did you read
good job. Glance through the first four
I
pages.
looked through.
I did, the first year I gave it to you guys, I read it, it hasn't changed much, so.
Okay.
We need to approve it, though,
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
one. I move to approve that you've shared the English language reports, 7.4.
That's weird.
A second?
All those in favor?
And then, oh, go ahead.
Healthy and Safe Schools Plan Annual Statement and Update.
Yeah.
I don't think that actually has to be approved, I just have to share it with you.
See, that's what I thought about the previous one, since
Yeah,
it says
yeah.
share.
Too.
Yeah.
So is it not going to action? I don't know.
No, yeah, it could probably just go up in reports.
Or something.
Reports,
Next
yeah.
year we'll put it in.
Alright, we got it. New Year action items. Do we gotta do these individually, or can we read through it and then,
Yeah, Rachel grouped them in the past.
and then just, okay, so I'm just gonna state them all. And if you have questions as we go, speak up. Okay, name confidential employees excluded from the bargaining units, which is Kay Fache, Jamie Foster, Jaren Ricks, Susan Wilson, Sarah, I'm gonna say that wrong? Prinitz, okay.
Prinitz.
That's it. Prinitz, okay. I've heard it, I feel like I've heard it both ways. Carly Duval and Jennifer McKenzie. Designate superintendent as chief administrative officer, district clerk, executive officer, federal project manager and director, state surplus purchasing agreement, agent to receive federal funds, Americans with Disability Act, compliance officer, Sue Wilson. Designate deputy to chief administrative officer, business manager, deputy clerk, budget officer, Jaren Ricks. Designate officer for custody and disbursement of school district funds and authorize the facsimile signature of such custodians, Sue Wilson and Jaren Ricks. Authorize clerk and deputy clerk to sign checks, make salary payments according to district policy and state laws. Authorize the superintendent to accept resignations and employ personnel as budgeted for and appropriate upon approval of the school board. Authorize $250,000 crime insurance coverage. Authorize clerk and deputy clerk to expend for minor contingencies such as approved purchases, per diem expenses, payroll errors, freight, and postage. Designate a depository, which is Banner Bank, Oregon State Investment Pool. Designate official auditors, which is Polly Rogers and Co. PC. Designate legal counsel, the Hungerford Law Firm, LLP, Oregon School Boards Association Legal Division. Designate official newspaper for publication of elections and other public notifications, the Sayusa News. Designate insurance agent of record, WHA Insurance. Designate alternative ed placement, Lane Education Service District and Sayusa School District. Designate Board of Education as local contract review board. Reduced mileage reimbursement rate, 1/2 of current IRS rate. Designate monthly meeting day, time and place, third Wednesday of each month, 6 p.m. at Mapleton High School and online via YouTube. Sports petition rates, free, however, if quit a sport mid-season, $125 per sport for next season, which carries forward for a year and get money back if you complete a season. It all seems straightforward.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and unless there's questions.
What's that?
Unless there's questions
Yeah.
about any of them, I would move to.
I'm just curious about the reduced mileage reimbursement rate. from
That's
1/2.
if we have a district vehicle available and someone chooses to drive their own vehicle instead,
Oh,
pay
gotcha.
them half of the rate.
Okay.
And I had, Polly Rogers, is that,
That's what we're doing.
yeah, we haven't, like, for some reason I feel like we,
I went out at one point to try and get
yeah.
Yeah.
quotes, but at that time, wrote back and they've righted their ship a little more, I feel like, and fixed stuff more timely.
Okay, cool, cause I know that was like, that was the problem.
Yeah, that was like an issue everywhere.
But it
for a
does seem
while.
like this past school is more timely, right? So,
Good.
yeah.
How did that sports participation fee thing go this year? Was it fall through on, was it implemented on?
Yeah, and there were-
Mid-year,
say it again.
did we pass it mid-year?
No, we did
We
it
did it before
beginning,
football.
yeah, and I am positive there were at least 2 kids that finished football only because of that rule.
Oh.
So, whether they liked it or not, and by the end, I think they actually were proud that they finished football, but at one point, it was like,
So it held them accountable to the commitment.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
Good.
and it got them through that. There's a hard hump in every season for newer athletes that is
Mhm.
like, why am I here? I should not be here, and I think it helped them get through that hump.
So do we have anyone that got charged?
No,
Okay.
yeah, they would be charged if they came out for a sport again. We have one kid that,
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
that's, seems like a fairly positive report then.
Yeah, I mean, it was,
Yeah.
I really didn't hear about it the rest of the year, but that was the program we were worried about.
Yeah,
So,
that was the one tough sport.
Yeah, so, yeah, I feel like it worked.
Good. Any other questions or discussion?
No, I mean, I guess the only one that I would say is like, we have in the past moved meetings like a couple times a year, and we should talk about doing that again. If we, do we wanna say designate monthly meeting days as that day with like, I don't know, we need to add like any caveat? Or just go with that and then announce a change?
Yeah, I think this is just, our regularly planned is.
Yeah,
Gives us a base.
yep, okay.
Okay.
Is the last one, is June gonna be in the same spot? I haven't looked.
The same,
Yeah, sometimes we know already based on the calendar.
Yeah, it'll be
I
after.
feel like it's this, yeah,
16th.
sometimes we
After
move it,
graduation, right.
yeah,
It'll be after graduation and right after the last day of school.
yeah.
I think it's fine to keep there, you guys get on that.
I think
Okay.
so.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
I move to approve 7.6 through 7.61.18.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, first read policy, we have one, the K&A immigration enforcement.
Yeah,
And did everyone look over that one? It's a new one, right? But Mary had saw it at the one meeting she went to and let us know about it, but then it quickly was coming out fast. They want it in by December, but no one's gonna have it. No one's gonna have it.
By September.
by September.
That's what I'm saying, they want it in by September.
Oh, you said December.
December.
Oh, okay, I'm in September. I don't even know where December came from. They want it in by September, no one's gonna have their second read done until in September.
Yeah.
In September,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, they wanted it in place by September 30th, so
Yeah.
if they
Oh,
do
okay.
second
Right.
reads by
Yeah,
the
yeah.
September meeting, then it should be fine.
What I can share on this is this was a big topic of conversation in, superintendent council last week, and, the model policy from OSBA, almost every district is reducing it to much smaller. So, and I have one, somebody sent me, one district is further along than others, and so, they have one that they shared to superintendent council who, that has gone back and forth with is Spencer from OSBA? Yeah, gone back and forth with OSBA and been approved, so,
Well, that's good. Spencer was the one who presented on
Presented,
this
yeah.
at the training.
and Jaren, is that the one, am I showing or you? Is that
This is Gary's,
the one that I sent you? Okay.
it's tough with me, and this is the plain. Road.
Yeah, and it shows, I mean, what I like about this one is you can just see what they're getting rid of, so
Mhm.
you may not have to toggle between the two. There's a training requirement for all staff, but in the model policy, it's 60 minutes. And we don't think there's 60 minutes worth of training to give in most cases, and there's a lot that we require of training with our teachers, and so, and wanting to do PD and those kind of things, so that's one of the big conversations around.
It's all staff or the two
Well,
points
so
of contact?
there's also an that's one of the other questions is who needs to be trained? So this language is intended to clean up that essentially staff will be trained at the level they need to be trained, kind of thing, so, I mean, for us, it's office staff that would engage with folks, for almost everybody, that's how
Yeah.
we're interpreting it, and then there's a mention to everybody else that, hey, this is a policy. So,
So in your instance though, what does that mean? Cause like, the superintendent is the primary point of contact. And the principal is, shall serve as,
yeah.
That's the same person.
Well, but not at elementary, or
Yeah.
not on the other side of campus, so I think
wouldn't you wanna have two on each side essentially, or no?
Maybe.
Cause if someone's not there. Just like there's two phones or two doors, you know, so.
With us being one unified school, would they just be required to come here though? Even if they wanted to access the elementary school?
I
Aside?
mean, technically they should, you're right.
So they
Yeah.
absolutely should not be going over there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And if they did, it would be you need to check in at the office.
Back over here, and that could be the training
So
that's
that-
like, that,
Yeah,
this is not,
so the two
go back.
people, like two people here, or two people, I mean, I'm not saying that there still shouldn't be two people that are trained, but I think that maybe it's not as, we need to get used to thinking of us as one school instead of.
So is that gonna be for
separate.
everybody though? So anybody that comes to the school district gonna have to check in here or?
No, this is
This
very,
is
this is very
policy.
much about,
I'm just-
like,
yeah.
I mean, but that's, well, we don't, it's a little different.
It seems weird
I
stuff.
think CPS, if we, like, when an officer or CPS call come, I guess based on the age of the state, I think most times they do check
They
in
do check
here.
Because it's like the
Sometimes,
district.
yeah, sometimes they're back for the same kid and they go straight to the other campus, does that make sense? So like,
Yeah.
It's like the initial.
they were
But could it
here
be-
and now they're back, so we see that, but almost always there's a check-in up here.
And could it be where if they're there, they're sent back over to check in here?
Yeah,
Like
that
Carly
is
sent them back.
that is the training, is that
Okay.
all happens up
Okay.
here.
I mean, in essence, I guess you wouldn't have to do that, but I think not that you couldn't still have the principal over there be the second trained person,
Yeah,
but a second person in this building
Yeah.
makes more sense to me.
yeah,
Mhm.
and we'll train
Like
Both
the two
office
office
staff
people.
and all admin, like, basically all confidential staff will be
Okay,
the main train, so even like Jaren and Kay makes sense. because they're out on campus.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If we were
If
dealing
someone's
with something
approached,
else, they're gonna be
yeah.
the next person, yeah.
Mhm.
So that's who the main training
Okay.
should be for, and then, but I do like the, like,
One school.
part of that training being, you go through the district office, being down
Yeah,
there.
send it back, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just out of curiosity, what's the training?
Red.
Yeah.
So, protocol for, engaging with immigrant, like, it's basically like, is there a judicial warrant? If there's not, nothing's happening, right? But we serve a judicial warrant only, and then from there, so, and really what we talked about, in superintendent council, like, this isn't happening on district campuses, right? That, like, there's not a single report of being on a district campus of immigration enforcement. There are some that are like just outside the parking lot, right, those kind of things, but that's still not this. And so, it's a reinforcement of already existing protocol to say, is there a judicial warrant? Here's the process for following that. If you don't have that, then we're not,
Talking, yeah.
there's nothing else to be done
Nothing
until
to
you
go.
have that, so. And that you shouldn't be on campus without the warrant, so
When a
go
warrant,
get one.
when a warrant is served like that, is there like,
Oh, sorry, keep going, but there is one thing I wanna come back to.
do you have the, like, say you get a warrant, but you're like, well, I don't know what this, like, you know, I don't know who this, who's the judge that signed this, like, who is it?
How do you know it's real or
How do you know it's
official?
real
Right.
and official and true?
Yeah,
You know, do you have the, like.
Is there someone we can call?
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
so that's, and. I don't
There's
know
like
if it's
two
OSBA or
forms,
COS
right?
Yeah, and there are, like, materials and practices for schools right now, especially because of this, that are being put together and say, this is the process, make sure, like, so it
Like,
attends
and
to that.
we were discussing it today.
Yeah.
Like, cause I'll have to do it, and I didn't get to look at both, or maybe it was yesterday, I didn't get to look at both forms heavily, but like, there was one that looked good, cause it was like, just kind of a step-by-step checkbox for the person that has to deal with their brain, you know, that,
Yeah,
yeah.
and part of that was confirming that the warrant is actually,
Yeah.
yeah.
Then the second requirement of this is to send out required notice. So the training has to include required notice that, immigration was on campus conducting a judicial warrant. So if that happens, we'll have a statement pre-made that goes to parents where and hit send, and that's it, so. But yeah, in terms of the training material, like, that's being kind of put together and supported in the schools, and we'll use that to.
So they're
follow this.
putting together some training.
There's COSA has
'Cause we
been
actually started
helping
looking
send
for it
some stuff
yesterday.
out, yeah, and sometimes it's, like, you guys are ahead of most of us, in terms of processing through this, so Gary was talking a lot in superintendent council. Some of it's us sharing stuff, but COSA and OSBA are working together to share. Whenever we get a new policy like this, they work together to share materials to schools that we can utilize to meet the policy.
Any other, questions on that? We'll go
No.
over it again, obviously,
Yeah.
next month.
Yeah, no, just that, like, if this is the first read, then we're considering this one that already has the edits, like.
That's my
those edits.
recommendation because it went through OSBA.
Yeah,
That
right.
it feels
makes sense.
good to do that.
Uh-huh.
And we've had other boards and other districts with eyes on it.
Mhm.
Okay.
we'll make sure to send this version to you guys.
Yeah, we had the
on
full.
there. Yeah, I kept trying to attach it at the beginning of the meeting and it wouldn't attach, so I'll figure out why.
Is everyone comfortable to move to the second read policies? Okay. Okay, Jaren, second reads.
Did you wanna look at the two ARs that go with that?
With the immigration?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I guess these are the
should.
forms, these are the forms
Yeah.
maybe that you were,
Yeah, the ones that we were talking about, the sample ones.
So this is interactions.
See, there we go, like.
So it is kind of, yeah, the directions like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm. The court that issued it. That's true too, like joining game or something like that, you know?
Any questions on that one?
right, this is the one you're talking about, the signature, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Go on.
I feel like I'd have lots of questions if I was the designated
Yeah.
person, yes, but, yeah. But with the training coming up, we're like not ready, not out there yet, those questions would probably be addressed in that.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Okay. And is the training stuff gonna be available by the time we would need to second read that and approve it?
Hopefully.
Cause that would seem.
Seems like it should be.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, I've been seeing reference. Let me see if I can find anything that says status. I have vendors reaching out to offer the trainings. Don't get me started.
They're jumping on that one.
Every single time there's anything. Send
Hey,
emails.
you're in school,
My
do you need
inbox
this?
alone. Yeah, I'll let you know when I find, they did send, like, Koza sent out a really, I mean, this is from August 11th when it was new and it was very detailed on what this is and what needs to happen.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I mean, it's not that their response is not good, I'm not meaning to imply that, but it just like it'd be, I would feel better about
Yeah,
approving it
unfortunately,
if I knew kind of what the training said about how to enact that, you know, or how to like, yeah. Anybody need another thing to do?
Maybe mine now.
Yeah.
So, it's second read, any questions on those?
Mhm.
No.
Everyone's good with them? Don't need to see anything? Okay. Feel free
Okay.
to speak up if anyone wants to.
Are we, is it, wait,
You can do it as a
All the
whole.
7.8, 7 point.
and are approving it?
Mm-hmm.
I move to approve 7.8 through 7.8.13.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay. Discussion items, we keep this one on there right now, just 'cause it's,
Yeah, there was actually
Yeah.
a little,
Mhm.
there was, at that same OSBA training I was at, there was just a little discussion about this. I thought maybe it'd be worth bringing some of the stuff that was brought up back here, just to kind of share what's happening at other schools. I, for lack of it being just like kind of a, moment to decompress and maybe, express a lot of more negative concerns around, there was a lot of that in this conversation, so just like take this with a grain of salt. And sometimes things can snowball, but what was really interesting, and the reason that it's like not just AI in schools, but tech and AI in schools, is that on the elementary side, it was less like talk about AI and all of that, and it was actually more talking about tech itself and the over usage of that in the schools, and there was lots of examples of I just ate that in
I
you
know.
guys, sorry. But like younger kids, especially like we're talking like the 2nd through 4th grade age, more than 5th and 6th, just struggling with concentration in general. You know, like they're talking about teachers giving examples of kids just like zoning out and like kind of being done with a conversation and like literally swiping their textbooks. Like just that natural movement of like, I'm done with this, I need the next dopamine hit. Like the inability to follow simple directions and problem solve. There was an example given of just like, there was a backpack in the way and like, these students could not comprehend like what to do about this backpack in the way. Do we move it? Do we go over it? Do we go around it? We don't know what to do, so we're just gonna melt down. And just like the impact of, and a lot of these devices and stuff are at home, so we're not talking necessarily that these are devices that are happening in school, but it's just like additional usage of tech and stuff at the elementary school is just talk about like maybe not, or you know, limiting that more. I know we've had that conversation here. Size of school matters too, like if there's a lot of kids and there's more, you know, ability for kids to maybe pass by eyes or slip through cracks, for lack of a better term, where here we have a lot of eyes on a lot of kids, so it's maybe it's not, I don't know if our I haven't really heard from our teachers at least that level of deterioration is happening, but that it was just brought up that way. Like in the older grades, an example was given of a teacher who does like these weekly quizzes, and every week he puts up a slide and says like, here's what you do if you get done with your quiz before everyone else is done. Like this is the directions. You can make a comic or like do a 1-paragraph whatever on something. It was like the same directions every week. And one of his students is just like sitting there, just like, what are you doing? I don't know what to do. You know, we're in week 12. You know, so it's just these moments of of seeing the impact and then talking about it. Obviously, they brought it up to the board, because this was a board level, these were all board members, there was a few educators in the room, but mostly board members. You know, like teachers talk, and then with AI, there was some talk about that too, like teachers talking about how a student would ask them a question and they would answer it, and like the kid would like check them against ChatGPT in real time to their face. And just like, okay, you guys. So just some trends and some concerns. So some districts are talking about, you know, they've gone back to more, teachers are using a lot more paper and pencil, and also not using, not having individual devices for folks, like computers and stuff, and using shared ones for when there's tech needs, rather than having personal laptops for everybody. I mean, these are just stuff that other districts are doing. There also has been a rising like ask for that from students. I know that that has actually happened here too, at least with the peer groups that I've had interact with me at my house through my kids' friends and stuff, talk about how like you doing things like not on the computer, like liking more when you have to write something out, or in the LA, like using complete sentences and actually having to like write things out versus all of that. And some, so just, it's obviously being talked about at a lot of different levels. Obviously the impact to kids is happening, and it's not all happening at school. A lot of it is happening at home, which impacts behaviors at school that we are then either perpetuating or mitigating, so anyway, it was worth bringing up just because there's a lot of conversation. There's a lot of obviously negative impacts. We know all the pros too. I think a lot of people talk about the pros of it, like it's there. We need to make sure our kids know how to use it, and know how to use it well, and AI, it's the way of the future. Even any business person that comes in and does presentations talks about how like, I'm gonna hire the person that's proficient in that versus the person who's not. So we understand, I get that. But to do the actual school work, or to have a third grader be able to walk around a backpack, and our kids being able to know how to read and write a paper, is also really important. And I feel like the trend is, really impacting negatively if we don't keep our eyes really on it. And I know Michelle started the talk, and we're not like pounding on it every month anymore, but we are going into a new school year. We do have the benefit of having, because we have such small class sizes, of really tracking what's happening with our kids with our usage, and then hopefully being able to respond in a way that is the best for our kids. Anyway, that's all I want to say. I want to share. And then
If I can share a couple things, three of our secondary staff went to a multi-day AI training this summer that, like when I say AI training, it wasn't how to, it was like how to and how to not. And really thoughtful. It's interesting, some who were leaning more away from don't use it at all came back with like, no, we need to show how to use it, but here's why, and I'll come back to that comment. And then some who were all in came back less in. So I think it was a good training in terms of moderating it. I had a conversation with Garrett today, who shared, this was after a larger conversation, but shared that the research for at least high school age is saying people who understand how to use AI and what it's like the better uses of it actually use it less. The people that don't are like using it like a Google search, right? And so that the research is showing like understanding the boundaries of it is actually leading to better use and less use of it. So I thought that was an interesting takeaway. In our larger meeting, we talked a ton, it wasn't even necessarily about AI, I would say it was tech use and AI and monitoring use. And we're purchasing blue books for the office that there's a whole lot more written assignments happening, and so we're gonna have blue books available for every class. And then, we talked a ton about, especially in our portfolio work, capturing the process of work versus focusing only on the final product. And that, when doing that, you can really push for having to show all of the understanding. What tools did you use? How did you iterate your work? And you're doing all that in ways that, like, you can't do all of that on ChatGPT, right? If you just go for the final product and then say, okay, how did we get here? It's gonna be so obvious that you got there by putting a prompt in there. So, some conversations about doing that and how to do that and where to focus. Lots of great ideas were shared back and forth amongst our staff. And then we, right now, I just wanna show two things up here real quick. This is Garrett's, current language in his syllabus, but, 4 of our staff had explicit, AI mention, and maybe it was 5. So they're sharing that out to each other, and everybody's gonna have some AI language in their syllabus explicitly. And this was one of the examples shared, and he's still working to modify this in his own work and looking at the other examples. And then
I like that middle paragraph there.
What's it say?
The no AI program. If you get this information from one of those and it's true, then you can find a credible resource.
yeah, and he was even sharing, like, they do like a word of the week or word of the day, I can't remember but sycophant is gonna be the first word, and then teaching what sycophant means and how AI generative AI platforms are sycophantic and how you can push back against that and these things. So, like, he's really, all of the different versions of what he does in class, he's thinking about how to embed understanding AI and use of AI so that they're informed, better informed. And then in our, this keeps happening to me where, sorry, the thing that you have to push to go, there we go, it's covered. So we updated our kind of SALD guide, student and family guide, and in this, we were working together on it today. The whole thing is pretty bulleted, straightforward, short and sweet. We'll go over this with students, but this one, use artificial intelligence tools ethically and appropriately. There was conversation about, like, do they actually know what that means, and that's when it's like the teaching of that. So what we talked about is creating a committee to both put forward a policy to you all on AI usage in the district, in class, and so on, and to keep building out more materials here on what that sentence means inside of that. And then Krista shared that 8th grade computer science is largely about ethical use of AI through that whole year, or through that whole 12 weeks. So anyway, some things happening up here. In terms of tech use, on the other side, like say K2, it's very minimal, and then 3-5 they start learning how to, like, they'll make a Google presentation of something, like they're learning tools towards showing their work is almost always the use. I'll say one other skill that we're gonna collectively work on is research skills, and shared rubrics on that. And then Jen, as a former librarian, current librarian, well, yeah, once you're a librarian, you're always a librarian, is gonna do database classes and research skills with all of our classes. So really knowing what good research is versus not. So, and being able to pull on other resources besides Google. So, anyway, those are some things we're working on, and happy to chat further on it or take information back to them or seek certain advice from our staff and bring it back. So,
Any other things on that? Cool. I like that they're all like collectively coming on this side with those ideas, and I'll be happy to see what they come up with, what they bring to us.
I don't know that this exactly goes with technology, I don't know. But one thing that I have been doing with my kids is cursive. And my daughter.
I was actually gonna go to that in like the other
My
thing.
daughter, she's like, I'm diagnosing her as like a little bit dyslexic, right? And so, teaching her to read, she's in the 2nd grade. And so I switched over to cursive like at the beginning of last year only, and she's like, there's no problems. And, I don't know, I just think that, like, that's where I don't know if like the technology, AI, this fits in, but like, do they teach that over there? Is there like?
we do, yeah, so cursive's not a standard per se, like a Oregon
Yeah.
State standard, right? So, but there are, and kids are excited to learn cursive.
They
Yeah,
are.
I was
So,
gonna say,
yeah.
like, I know when mine was over there, they were learning.
Yeah, so it's built, like, it is built in, at various ways. I can't tell you like, it's at this grade, they're doing it, and
I
they're
think the
practicing it all
teachers just
year,
kinda
but-
do it as they
Yeah.
want to, right, to
Yeah.
implement
And we
it.
actually, we're gonna hold off one more year before we go all in on this, but we're looking at like almost like a badging system of like, here's this set of skills that when you demonstrate that you earn this badge. And 6th grade, and it like, you know, should they learn cursive before 6th grade?
Yes.
Maybe. Like, yeah, okay. And we're working on this over here, on the secondary side. So some of the skills we were naming for 6th grade is to make sure, and hopefully they have them before that, and you just have the badge, and then at some point, once we put a badging system in, we'll work it down, right? But some of the skills we were naming is like using a ruler, reading and writing cursive, think of things in that ballpark. It's basically like using technologies of the past. It was kind of the theme of it. And so there was excitement around that, and the kids like to know and do those things and are seeking that. So that was we're gonna wait on the full layout of that badging one more year while we tighten some other things, but we're in the process of like
think that's
brainstorming
cool.
what those look like.
Well, and that's why it made me think of stuff I had thought about, like even over the summer, when she was talking about how, you know, at least in some places that what it's caused those younger elementary kids to do. You know, what I see is in the last quite a few years is like handwriting, especially. Part of that goes to cursive, but part of it is just handwriting in general.
Writing in general,
It's
yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
Like it's terrible, and that's probably because, you know, they have this, they don't have to write, and because of COVID or anything, there was a lot of technology implemented then, so they don't have to write. So it is nice that they're wanting to, I mean, because we're not focusing on like, I mean, it's so
But
bad.
that's like.
I'm trying to read even just their regular handwriting, and they don't have a signature because they don't know cursive.
Oh, that was one of the things, having an autograph was on
Yeah,
that list.
yeah, and
So-
like learning just to write a letter and mail it even would be
Yep,
cool,
that was
but,
on the list.
more.
We actually already do that. This was moving to the badging of that, but we actually
Yeah.
already do that in, our, like, many of our, like, written thank you notes, how to
check.
do a letter, send it.
They'll never have to write a check.
Yeah.
Never, they just go,
Yeah.
I pay. So then, but handwriting was the biggest thing, cause I work with high schoolers and, oh my god, it's awful. And, I was looking at someone today when they were filling out their paperwork, but with that was the other thing, so I was just gonna mention it later, but since we got to like handwriting and those things, is because they're on there so much, I don't know that when they are on their own, they can always master their spelling. I mean, we've talked about those things before, just even like signage in the building, posters they make.
Yeah.
So I would love if since we're starting a new school year, that like, someone's always looking at whatever, you know, if there's an adult or even a peer that's like proofing what goes up, so it's like we don't have people walking through the buildings and see things spelled weird. But then also, I noticed it, back then, but it was the end of the year, like, I noticed it even on one of the senior projects that we watched. And as the slideshow went through, there was spelling and grammatical errors all through the slides, randomly in there. And I mean, it was, I think it was June, so it was just like, it was done. But even like that presentation to us had grammatical and spelling errors. This shouldn't be happening from a senior, but let alone, someone should proof that stuff. But I mean, that's, I feel like we're getting those errors because this usually just takes care of it for you versus having that comprehension of it on your own. So that's what I always feared, it's like, they're too reliant on it and they don't have that self
Well, there's something
awareness.
to be said about like thinking about it and writing it, like versus,
Yeah.
There's a lot of other skills involved too, like knowing how to space your words.
Yeah.
And having to decide that on your own versus like having a computer fix all your margins and everything for you, or just automatically move a word to the next line when it gets too long. Like a lot of, you know, handwriting was judged on that kind of thing, where just like when you saw words getting squished at the end of the page, and then as the kids progressed or people progressed, and then the spacing was, so
It doesn't
it's-
look so messy.
and that is all part of like motor skills and hand-eye coordination and stuff. So it's not just handwriting, it's also just like knowing how to format something, knowing what looks, because then when you do apply it digitally, you have an eye for good formatting, because you're not relying on tools to do it for you all the time.
Yeah.
well, and sometimes I feel like, you know, like my son, like print, terrible, and I don't know what to do about it. But if I tell him to cursive, it's great, it's beautiful, it's straight. Sometimes I think that like just seeing it flow, it helps, you know, helps
Quite
kids versus
possibly,
like
yeah.
boxy, you know,
Yeah.
so.
So yeah,
I
all
think-
things we can watch from it. Cool. Any other public comment, Sharon? Okay. We kinda did some of it, but any comments from the board, from anything else, or?
I had a couple things. So, you answered one of them, I wanted to know like the increase of the like after the charter.
Yeah.
Our one quick random one is bus, like the bus maintenance, is that in-house? It is. So-
The whole, everything bus is in-house.
Okay,
yeah.
but the maintenance and, okay.
Servicing, fixing,
Servicing.
anything?
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, and then, I noticed that basketball, high school boys basketball position was posted yesterday.
Well, it's been posted numerous times, but now it's on the website we talked about, so it's there, so.
So it was posted numerous times, so.
Yeah, like it went out last spring, and then, Carrie's on OSAA has put it, and on, OSAA. Oh, and then, so what's the name of the, Exploding Whale Sports. Okay, so Carrie okay, let me back up. So I did summer because we didn't have somebody get hired last year, so I did the summer basketball with them. She wanted me, because of that, to fill out, or do the, OSAA.
Like, you have to do
Concussion,
trainings as a coach,
exactly.
yeah.
So the easiest way to get OSAA to send you that stuff is to put your name directly into the system. So she did that, not thinking anybody actually looks at that very often. Well, it triggered Exploding Whale Sports, who sent me an email at 7:30 the next morning, while I was on vacation, and said, oh, asked some questions about basketball, and then I didn't see it till the next day when Andrea called me.
Yeah.
And at noon that day, without a response, or wrote a story and submitted a story that said I named myself head coach and something else, and I'm like, that's not accurate. So I wrote them back, they took the story down immediately and put the blurb that we had sent out about hiring in in the like correction store. I don't know that there was a full correction, but it was like, oh, just kidding, they're hiring a coach, here's the blurb. In the meantime, Coach Radio had picked up the exploding whale story and sent it out. So anyway, there's misinformation, and we corrected with that blurb in both spaces, and it's the same blurb that had been sent out in the spring and early summer. So now that's posted on the website. Did you know it yesterday or the day before? Anyway, sometime this week, we posted it, and we don't normally post coaching positions as a district. Annie and I talked about that we've never had the job description like.
I always thought we had that.
Yeah, I went through telling it because I was like, I've never done it, and then I went through and did a search, and it goes back well before me, and there's not a single coaching position
Yeah, I always thought.
on the
I swear I saw the
talent ed
volleyball
spot.
coach,
I know.
or at least on the website.
On the website, yes, but like from.
They
Okay,
usually post in the news, in the postings.
Oh,
Like somewhere
yeah,
to
so we
see it
send
on the
out-
website.
just
Yeah,
on the
which
What you're
has
saying
happened.
through talent ed. Okay.
Yeah, so now we put it on
Right.
talent ed, so
Is it
on the
also on the
website,
website?
yes.
I didn't, no, I just have it on the.
Oh, put it on
Right.
talent ed,
Yeah.
sorry, that's what I thought you
Okay.
did, put it on talent ed.
So it's, you put it on the website,
Yeah.
and then,
Yeah.
okay, you're
And
saying,
that's true,
yeah.
the website, that's where
That's where I see
it,
it.
And
I've never seen
I
it on.
believe it went on to the website in spring too, when we do that, because we sent it through
The website
something
being the
that's
school
on-
website?
Yeah, it's just, we have so much stuff going out right now that it's turning over
yeah, it's in a,
more
Yeah,
often
different
than
cycle, yeah.
stuff used to just sit there for a long time, so,
Mhm.
yeah.
And this time it's more of a description. I mean, usually I just have on there,
Mhm.
we're looking for a coach for this sport.
Mhm.
yeah.
So there's a little
Yeah.
more on there this time.
Okay.
So, okay, that goes to my next question, why are we looking for a new person for basketball? What happened?
Because we have an opening for basketball.
Yeah, why?
Those are annual contracts and there's an opening. for that.
Okay, so, but was there reasoning why the contract wasn't renewed, or?
We don't do personnel in here, so, yeah,
Okay, well, I have people asking me
fair.
why, a guy who's been coaching here for years and years, very loyal, very,
I wanna interrupt because this is a good conversation to have, but have in private, because it's too specifically personnel dependent for a public meeting.
so, but then how does that go with public asking me, why is this? I mean, 4 people have called me, like, what is going on? What is happening? Why is this happening? And so I'm supposed to say, oh, I don't know, like,
Call me.
Yeah, because personnel is the superintendent's job, and so the correct answer is send them to the person in charge of hiring. If they're not happy, they can always escalate, but coming right to the board person and saying, what's the hot gossip, why so-and-so's not here anymore, is not actually what we do. And we have to keep that line of delineation.
well, I don't think it's like, what's the hot gossip? I think it's like, what is going on?
Right, but it's,
Because
it's,
this is
Which
change.
is for Sue to answer, because it is a personnel thing, and Sue's in charge of hiring and firing.
well, that and according to like public meeting and personnel protection laws, like we're not able
allowed
to
to
discuss
have
personnel
Yeah.
stuff in a public meeting.
Okay, well then I'll see you after. And then I will just go ahead and repeat whatever you say back to the people that are asking me, because I don't know how else to answer people. That's not fair as a board member for me to be like, oh, I don't know, I have no idea, that makes me look stupid. So if I don't,
I'm gonna say it one more time, like, we've done roles and responsibilities and board training, we'll do it again on September something. We have it. 11th. And it's very clear in board policy and training and responsibilities and roles that personnel is not, that's not how that works, so.
But an individual
conversation
conversation
can
with the
happen.
superintendent, you can have that conversation and
Yes.
then you can disclose whatever is like, discussed that is public, that like is okay to go out to the public.
God,
So that you have information to share, but it doesn't get open, like discussed in a public meeting.
got it. Okay, and the next thing, the community center, or whatever, what are you calling the thing at the middle school?
Yeah,
So,
community resource center.
okay, so does that mean, I've been asked about this too. So I don't know what it means, I don't know what it entails, I don't know what you're offering, or when you're gonna be offering whatever you're offering. So I guess I need to know more information, so do people, because they're asking.
So, community kitchen, which we've talked about in these meetings numerous times. Next door to that is, I have a map that we've shown in here,
Programming?
a programming room that we use already for our after-school club, and then, workshops and other offerings.
Programming?
It's like a programming room, so it's like a room with,
Can open
Tables.
rooms be?
yeah, and at some point, when the kitchen is done, there'll be a door between those two. That will be like a back of house, front of house model, so like, we can host something that, dinner gets served at from the kitchen next door.
Okay.
So, often it's similar type things that we already, like, we use this room for various things when we need to, we use room 10 over here. It's a room separate from the campus to, do programming. Excuse me. And then our after-school elementary program has been using that room for all of last year. Yeah, all of last year. Watershed Council has the 2 rooms on the front end there. We have a, what's the word? Bid for, the bathroom upgrade, well, HVAC upgrade, in the whole thing. And then, bathroom renovations, to, if you've been in those bathrooms, they need renovated. I don't know what else to say to that, but, yeah, but
One has a padlock.
attached, attached to that, including, laundry and, was it shower? In one, yeah, laundry and shower, availability in there, which we already offer in the gym, it's just pulling that. Part of the problem is when you offer that here, then you're overlapping with, student use, that kind of thing, so having it in that area.
And that's with the bathroom renovation.
Like, those are built into the bathroom
Yeah.
renovation, yep. And then this hallway,
This one?
coming
Well,
this way, off,
The one that comes, the one that runs north-south, I guess.
The one when you go through the little breezeway and then you enter.
By the art room.
yeah, that one, yep. So, actually, I'll start there. So the art room is a, low-tech maker space, with materials for design and making, all sorts of things. The cardboard boats were made in that space. Across the hall is the teen room, I think they ended up calling it the Vibe Room, and that was, designed and, grant funded by the teens, and it's an after-school space. Well, the after-school program for secondary happens in there. Next door to that is a higher tech maker space that our business PBL uses, and, has like all the t-shirt making type stuff. At some point, we may do some of the 3D printing and that type of stuff over there, but right now that's staying in this hallway. And then the room across the hall from that are the 5 pods that are confidential spaces for telehealth appointments and, small group counseling. So, 2 people, like we have community health workers, when they meet with a student or family, there's a 2-person pod, and then a 3-person, pod there. So, what am I forgetting? You sound
Well,
like
no,
you're
I
gonna say
was
something.
about to ask, like, is that room ready to go? And if so, how does community use work?
Yeah, so
that
right
space?
now, is it electric one in there? Yeah, so it is, that room's, if not ready, oh no, I think we're waiting for furniture, like
Right,
a
yeah,
group's, counseling space, and then, there's supposed to be an intake area at the front, I don't know exactly what that is, but it's like an intake counter or something. So, for starters, our, what was that position called? Licensed clinical, social worker position will serve our kids and families out of that space.
Out of these pods,
And then, say it again.
out of pods.
Pods or group counseling between there. And then, when we have students who have telehealth appointments, like, we've done that for years, and often they go into whatever office we vacate, so that they can have a private meeting. Now they have a space to go to. We are not at the point of opening it up for wide community use yet. We wanna get it
Student
started
and
and
families
situated
mostly.
and have our folks using it and staffing it and those types of things, so we're not there yet. Yeah, that said, if somebody was coming in, like, Mary, I'm gonna use you as an example, sometimes Mary has had a meeting and needs to do a
She needs internet for a Zoom or
Zoom
something, yeah.
and she just parks it in the library, that works sometimes, and sometimes there's other people there. I would say, hey, do you wanna use one of those pods over there? So I'm not saying nobody's gonna use it, but it's not in a like,
With that,
Get a
it
hold
just
of
made
us
me
and
think
use
of
this
like,
space.
let's say it gets to that point, right, and you just have a community member, either maybe they don't have good internet, or they needed to somehow land here, and it's a telehealth appointment or whatever, or mostly a telehealth appointment. Are they gonna need to bring their own we're not gonna provide, are we providing any kind of technology? Like, I don't know if that'll come up in the future, like, you need to bring your own laptop or Chromebook or
yeah, I don't,
phone or whatever.
I don't know,
Okay,
Well, not.
right now, cause we provide
yeah.
for our kids.
Well, like the
they have
kids, they could
devices.
just take their little Chromebook in there, but like,
Yeah.
I just thought, okay, that could come up in the future, but I think maybe they should be reliant on themselves, but.
And then how do you vet them that they're, should be on campus? If it comes to the point of like letting somebody off the street, a community member coming in and using the room, and there's kids in there, how do you?
Part of probably figuring it out, right, is like hours that it could be used, and not all hours, like, cause you wouldn't want to have the community member usage open at the same time as you're sending kids down there for things, right? So like, figuring out, so for these hours, it's school use, and then these hours, it's community use, or something like that.
Yeah,
Right, I don't
cause it's
know.
like, sorry if you have a 1 o'clock appointment on a Monday, we have students here, you have to go somewhere else or.
Yeah, and so, I mean, part of moving resources to that building is that
Most kids
we
do.
have, like, over here, like, I'll just use the laundry, that's been a limitation, right? Because we don't allow you to do laundry during that. Really where we've opened it up is during, outages and, like, every time the water goes out, then on a weekend, we send somebody down here to meet people and say, use this. But we have folks that, especially kids and families who don't have laundry access. I have had some families that we work out a schedule that, hey, come in and use this out of the time, but it's easier if you have it on a different building than when kids are there all the time, so.
That's something I can help.
And the plan is to have multiple of those rooms and spaces used to, to be used by the public, or like open for public use once they're done, and once like a sort of like master plan guidelines would be set up, right? Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited about that because I like that, because, we spend a lot of time in that building, and there's a lot of useful space, and I'm excited for it to be able to be used, broadly.
Yeah, as like a third place, for people to meet, gather, share things, like, where there's not really space for that anywhere else.
I didn't share this story, I forgot. I don't know if I know all the details, but we are a finalist or we got through the first stage. I don't quite know how many stages there are, so let me say, we got through the first stage of Ford Family Capital Funding. We have a request for $250,000. We don't know that we'll get all of that, but that's what the request is for, and there's some sort of visit out here in September. I have not read it close enough to know the details on that, so just saw that yesterday, so.
And that's for space over there?
For final stages of the full funding of the kitchen. And we've raised 6,000?
Yeah.
Since we put out the video and capital campaign, we've raised 6,000, with fairly minimal effort, I will say. Like, just a couple share outs and sending it to people that might share it further. And then, I feel like I was gonna say one more thing about that, but can't remember.
I just had one change of topic question, but
Go for it.
the training on the 11th,
Uh-huh.
is there anything to know about that? Is that gonna be like a link sent out the day before kind of thing? Or
No,
Is
we'll
she
come,
coming
she's
here?
coming
She's
here,
coming
she's
here.
gonna come here, it'll all be in person, somewhere here, normally we would use that one, we used the one room before,
Conference room over
over there, right by you guys.
Oh.
So we've been in there, and she'll come here,
Oh.
and go over everything.
I have a question on like dietary preferences at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, for food that day?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
got it. I'm just making, I'm double checking that's on.
I know, and you know what, we've
That's what I'm
used
checking on mine.
more local places before, now there's
Not.
not. Although Trish said,
Gingerbread just
Trish
sold.
said that they just got
Yeah.
purchased, right?
Yeah,
so-
there's a sold sign on it.
It's cool, like to be a restaurant.
Don't know.
We don't know, I mean, the
Yeah.
building was
Really?
sold.
Okay.
I mean, we can hope it's
Yeah.
food.
I do hope it's good.
Yeah.
What time is that on the
I have 8 to 2:15 on here, does that sound right?
Oh, okay. I blocked out the whole day still, so I didn't know when we actually landed on.
In there, I have an 11:30 that I at least need to jump on for 20-25 minutes, so I'll
Okay.
excuse myself and then come back in if you guys are cool with that.
And that may be like
Lunch.
breakish time,
Yeah.
lunch
Yeah.
breakish time anyway.
Yeah.
We'll still save you food maybe, but you should probably be fast or grab it before you leave or.
Cool. And that's
So yeah, we'll figure out food for that day too.
That's a market day as well, just so everybody knows.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
Okay.
market afterwards.
Food for September 11th.
Actually, thinking about I think that's a good room to use. Have you guys been in there on market days? It stays pretty quiet in there, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's
it's
fine.
Yeah, I feel
It'll
like
be
most
fine.
stuff's coming out of here now,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, anything else? Anyone wanna move to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? All right.